In today's practice, we're going to be focusing on really listening to our needs, to our bodies, to know how to customize, let's say, our practice. So there will be lots of options and lots of room as well for you to explore different things perhaps, or things that you have already incorporated into your practice. So let's begin on a seated position. Bring in your mat. You can always use the props underneath you. Once you find a comfortable seat with your spine nice and straight, the palms can be resting on your lap and facing up. And just taking a moment to close your eyes. And to start landing into your body. See if you can feel your body from the inside out. Sensing what's it like to inhabit your body, to live with this body and through this body. As you begin to notice it, see if there's any parts that are tense or uncomfortable, or maybe some areas where you feel like you need a little bit more nurturing there. And see if you can orient the breath there. So the inhale is a nourishing, rejuvenating, revitalizing breath. We're taking in the prana, life force energy around us. We nourish those parts in our bodies that are needing more care. Maybe it's the whole body. You don't have a specific place. And then consciously the exhale out through the nose. It's a release. It's our offering back to the space around us of that which we may no longer need, but the space gets nurtured from it. Right? So the trees breathe our carbon dioxide, and it's, let's say, a waste product of our bodies, but it's something that in the cycle of life is used and transformed over and over again. So breathing in, rejuvenating, and breathing out, relaxing. On your following inhale, you're going to bring your palms joined together in front of your chest. And from here, you're going to take some time to set an intention that will accompany you throughout this practice. And as you hold that intention in your heart's mind, in your heart's consciousness, I will open the space of our practice with a mantra. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vitvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And as you're ready, you will bring your hands down to your knees and reconnect back to the space and your 5 senses, and blink gently your eyes open. We're going to start today with a balancing breath. So please join me. You're going to bring your right hand, your peace fingers, the index and the middle finger, to the base of the thumb. the ring and the pinky fingers are going to be joined together. Your left hand, you're going to bring the tip of the index to the tip of the thumb. Other three fingers are together, and then you rest your hand on to your knee. Now, with your right hand, the thumb is going to close the right nostril, and the ring and pinky finger are going to close the left nostril. So just try it out for a second. Right underneath the cartilage, like that little hard part, there's a soft spot that if you press lightly, you don't need to push too hard. Just by pressing lightly, you can close a nostril and redirect the breath to one or the other. So, follow me on this one. Let's just first relax and take some deep breaths, noticing the inhales and the exhales. Now you're going to bring your right hand close to your face. You're going to inhale through both noses. Close the right nostril, exhale through the left. Inhale through that same one. And then switch to exhale through the right nostril. Inhale through the right. Switch to exhale through the left. Again, inhaling same nostril. Switch to exhale through the right. And again, inhale right. Left exhale. Left inhale. Right exhale. Right inhale. Left exhale. Let's do one last round. Left inhaling. Right exhaling. Right inhale. And left exhale to finish. And gently releasing both hands. Oh, breathing through both nostrils and just noticing the breath. This breath balances our lunar and solar energies in our bodies. It's called Nadi Shodhana. It's the cleansing of the energetic highways. We have three main ones running through our midline, and the nostrils open and close two of those three. The lunar and the solar. So this creates a balancing atmosphere in our physical, energetic, and mental bodies. Gently opening your eyes again, finding yourself in the space you're in. And we'll begin with our movement. Land the hands firmly on the knees, and then we're going to start with the shoulder rolls. Inhale, up, back, down, and forward. Following the nice deep breath with the movement. Other way around. Front, down, back, and up. And release. Now we're going to bring both hands to your right leg. And we're going to do circles with our torso by keeping the two hands where they are. Feeling the spine starting to wake up with the movement, feeling the shoulders, feeling the engagement of the core. We're going to keep the hands where they are, and we're going to turn the other way around. One last big circle. Back to the center. We do the same thing on the other side. 2 hands on the left leg, and then we turn. Remember to breathe a little bit more deeper than usual. We tend to have very, very shallow breaths. So in yoga, we want to expand our capacity, bring in more oxygen, more aliveness into our bodies. And then we turn the other way around. Last one. And back to the center. We're going to open one hand and bring the other one to grab the wrist. We're going to imagine that we're putting on a globe. And with the other hand, you're pressing, tightening around the wrist and then pressing down. Like you really want to bring, it's a tight globe that you really want to bring down. So hold that, and the hand that is open, you're going to bring the thumb in, the other 4 fingers on top, keeping the globe pressing down with the other hand, and you're going to make big turns with that wrist. Naturally, you'll feel like the movement is a little bit restricted. You're still holding the skin down and pressing, but it's a nice way to keep our wrists nice and aligned while we stretch them. We create also a little bit of flexibility and strength here. Other way around. And release. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So putting on the globe, tightening it around the wrist, and then pressing down, pulling down. The big finger to the center, and then the other fingers fall on it, and then you roll that wrist while you keep holding the other hand downwards. One way, and then the other way around. And release. Now we're going to bring our elbows close to our ribs. Palms are going to be facing up, opening wide the fingers, and then look as far back as you can with your palms without moving the elbows from the ribs. And now bring the thumb in, close the fingers, and then, as one of my teachers used to say, puppy hands. Bring them down, pointing the knuckles down. This will perhaps feel a little bit uncomfortable in the wrist area and the forearm. And then up, opening the hands to the sky as far back as you can. Then thumb in, other fingers follow, and then puppy hands. Let's do that one more time on each side, opening wide. We're really prepping here our wrists, and then down. Now you can just roll and shake your hands, your wrists, kind of like giving them a little break. Good. And before we go on into all fours, I want us to warm up also a little bit the neck. So here where you are, you're going to take a deep inhale. On the exhale, you're going to drop one ear to one shoulder. The shoulder doesn't raise up. It's just the ear that comes down. Inhale as you come back to the center, and exhale to the other side. You just lean with your head center and side, and you move at your own pace with the breath. It's an inhale in the center, and an exhale to the side. Try to pull your shoulders up, back, and down as if you've done a roll, and you keep them back and down, shoulder blades joined. And then you join the ear to the shoulder on one side, and then the other one. You should feel nice. The neck, the stretch on the side. And down. Back to the center. And we're going to bring now the chin to the chest, and we're going to do a half moon. So keeping the chin glued to the chest, you're going to roll it to one shoulder, and then roll back down to the center, chin to the chest, and then roll it to the other side. It's like you're really just like tracing with your chin, your clavicle bone all the way up to the shoulder, half moon, and then other way to the other shoulder. And again. And to the other side. And back to the center. Bring your hands in front of you. Let's come to all fours to tabletop position. Making sure you align the wrists with the shoulders and the knees with the hips. Opening wide the fingers of your hands. Now from here, we're going to move slightly off from the center, and we're going to shift and bring our hands towards the right side. So we're doing like a little C shape with our spine. And like that, we're going to do our cat-cow rolls. So on an inhale, we open the chest, look up, tailbone points up. Exhaling, curving the spine, tuck the belly button, tuck the chin, and tuck the tailbone in, curving the spine. And again, on an inhale, you open. On an exhale, you close. Feel the 2 points that are looking up and down, which are the crown and the perineum. They look down, and then they look up. And then notice the midline that connects these 2 points, how it becomes convex and concave shape. So it is in that midline that our energy channels, the 3 main nadis, run through our midline. Let's do last one. And then let's come back to the center, neutral tabletop position. And then let's do the same thing on the other side. So both hands to the left. And again, we do our cat-cow rolls. You can follow your own breath as you move the spine, move the body. You will notice that this is different. It's a very different feeling from the normal cat-cow, where you're just, in complete alignment. This one has a little bit of a side bend. So just notice how it feels different on one side than the other. Let's do one more. And back to the center, neutral spine. We're going to bring our big toes to touch and open wide the knees. And bring the hips down to our child's pose. Forehead can be on the ground or onto both fists. Taking a few deep, nourishing breaths here. Sensing in this pose the surrender required to be here, the openness of the hips. Really sensing where you're at today. On a coming inhale, we're going to come back to all fours, realigning the knees and the hands and the wrists. We're going to bring our big toes and the rest of the toes to the mat. And we're going to lift the knees 1 inch off from the mat, keeping the alignment of the tabletop. So nothing moves. It's like if you had a glass of water on your back, it won't move, it won't spill. You're holding it, but your knees are not touching the ground. You'll feel the engagement happening at all parts of your body, the shoulders, the shoulder blades, the thighs, the hamstrings, the core. Exhale to relax. Take a deep breath and release. We're going to do it again. So join me, you will start feeling some heat in your body. So lifting up the knees just 1 inch from the mat. As you do so, notice that you're not holding the breath. Keep breathing. And exhale to relax. Take a moment to breathe here. Now, keep both knees on the ground. Keeping that stability, we're going to shift a little bit the movement now. We're going to bring one knee to touch or come close to the same elbow, and then back. And then the other one. We try to do this again, keeping the glass of water on top of our backs. So we're not spilling the water. We're keeping the movement as minimum as possible. Yes, we're lifting the knee. We're shifting slightly the weight. But then we move very little and try to come close to that elbow. One side and then the other. Even if you don't touch, it's fine. Just the intention of moving towards the front. Let's do a last one. And down. And now, I will give you the option to just do one leg at a time or to join the two previous exercises together. So we're going to do it. It's a little bit more challenging. It requires a little bit more strength. So you can choose to lift both knees an inch from the mat and then come touch one to the shoulder, to the elbow, and then the other one while moving very little from your stable tabletop. One leg and then the other. You can go at your own pace. Try to make the movements nice and mindful, being really aware of what are you engaging. A bunch of muscles you're engaging. Let's do one last one. And down. Release. Let's take another child's pose. Now you can choose. You can do it with your knees together and the arms back, or as we did before, the arms front and the knees open. Wherever you are, try to relax the head and take some breaths here. Try to soften as much as you can the body and try to relax onto the ground as you breathe deeply towards the back of the body. So it's as if you could breathe and inflate your kidneys. Your torso expands, your chest towards the back and the sides. Let's take one more deep breath there. And then gently on an inhale, rising up with the torso to come into a kneeling position. Now, if this is too uncomfortable for you, you can just come into a normal cross-legged position. From here, we're going to do a simple twist. Right hand is going to go to the outside of the knee and the other one towards the back. You cross it behind your back and then you look over that left shoulder. Taking some deep breaths here. Again, connecting the midline, the perineum and the crown and what happens in between. Noticing those 2 points. Turn the head first as we come back, and then gently we're going to do it on the other side. And release. Now we're going to come to our toes, so tucking them onto the mat, and we're going to sit back. Now, if it's too intense to sit with all your weight back, you can just use your hands in the front to support you a little bit. You can also come in and out of this pose, as it might be a little bit too much for the feet for some people. We're stretching here some deep muscles here in our feet. So just take a moment to breathe here as you land in this pose. If you want, you can also bring the little toe outwards on both feet. It'll create a little bit more like an openness. It might feel uncomfortable. Take a moment here to breathe. Remember to listen closely to what your body needs. If this is too intense, feel free to back out and then come back, or to simply bring your hands on the ground. We're now focusing on what's my needs, what is important for me, what nourishes me. As well, how can I go to my edge and soften? There's a Tibetan master called Chogyam Trungpa, and he says, find your edge and soften. He's not necessarily meaning a yoga pose where you find your edge, but it applies to many things in life. It's like, how can we find that border of our comfort zone? In the comfort zone, we're not growing. We're very comfortable. So how can we find that edge? And as finding it, it might create a little bit of anxiety, something new we haven't done before. So we find the edge and we soften. And it is through that softening that the edge moves. We have more space now. So let's bring the hands onto the mat. Very slowly release your toes, and then you can start closing and opening a little bit the toes here, waking them up a little more. Rolling the ankles, one side and then the other, as you keep on opening and closing the toes. And now we're going to tap the tops of the feet to the mat. And release. Now we're going to sit again onto our knees. Again, if this is not accessible to you, you can use your hands and then just breathe towards the discomfort. This part, the shins also need a lot of flexibility to be able to sit comfortably like this. So it takes time to get there. And if this is comfortable for you, then you can come and lift your knees. You can do a little bit of a balance. You always have here the choice. Wherever you are, find your breath. And find again your intention. What brings you here? What makes you come into this practice, into this journey. And wherever you are, gently release. Again, coming to a force. And again, let's do some little taps here. And then roll the ankle joint one way. And then the other way. Very good. Now from here, we're going to bring our toes again to the mat. Plant firmly the hands onto the mat. We're going to walk the hands one handprint above onto the mat. We're going to sink as if we were going to do a child's pose. So hips back, close to the heels. And then from here, we bring the head into the biceps, and then bring the hips up and back, coming into our downward dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. From here, you can, if you want, pedal your dog, walking in the same spot, bending one knee and then the other. You can exaggerate a little bit of movement, swinging the hips as well, side to side. Remember that here is like as if you wanted to slide your hand front. So this traction of the muscle creates an opening here of the chest so that you can sink with your head a little bit more in between the biceps, right? We're not doing this. We're pushing front and bringing the chest close to the legs. The legs don't have to be all the way straight. It's preferable that your spine is straight over than the legs. Now come to a still point with your legs, and now we're going to raise to the fingertips, both heels really away from the mat. Keep the same shape of the pyramid of the downward dog. And then exhale, bring the heels a little closer to the earth. You'll feel the stretch in your calf muscles and in the back of the knees and in your thighs. And again, inhale, lifting, heels off from the mat, come to the fingertips. And then exhaling, heels down. Let's do that once more. Heels up. and then down. Now bring your knees to the ground, coming into assisted plank. So the weight is forward. We're not in all fours. The weight is forward. And we're creating that straight line as if we would in a plank, but we are assisted with the knees. Take a deep inhale here. And we're going to bend slowly our elbows to come all the way down to the ground, but we're going to keep them tight to the rib cage. So they touch the rib cage as we move slowly down. Once we're here, we're going to release the tops of the feet and come into a little cobra pose. So opening the chest into baby cobra. Keep the nail of the big toe glued to the mat. Open the chest, and the hands are independent. They're not really pressing us. It's more the strength of our lower back. And exhaling down. Now we're going to bring the hands on a diagonal. So they're going to come out of the mat. Open them a little bit wider than the shoulders. And then extend your elbows. This is going to create a nice support. So now the arms are supporting us more than the muscles in the lumbar spine. Open the chest. Keep the neck nice and long and soft. And down. Keep the hands where they are, but now come to the fingertips. You're creating a little spider hands. We're going to inhale, peel the chest off from the mat. The head comes last. And we're going to drop now the right shoulder to the floor and look towards the left. Inhale again, peeling off. Center. And then other shoulder comes down. The ear also comes down of that shoulder. Inhale once more, center. Let's do one more side again, dropping one shoulder. Inhale, back center. And last side, dropping the shoulder and the ear. And back up. And exhaling down. We're going to bring both hands, one on top, stacked up on top of the other, to rest the forehead there. We're going to open our legs wide, toes out, heels in. This is called the crocodile pose, and it's a resting pose. But as we rest, I want us to be very aware of the breath. So, with your inhale, you're going to push with your belly and your chest the ground. And you're going to rise. You're going to rise slightly and in your back of the body, in the back of your body. So you press, you inflate chest and belly, and that pressure creates more space in the back. Your kidneys is as if you were breathing with your kidneys. So feeling the air there in the back. I want you to imagine that my hand was pressing your lumbar spine, and on the inhale my hand would rise, and on the exhale it would drop. So try that for a few rounds. It's an active breath. It's a resting pose, but it's a very active breath. Always in and out the breath through the nose. Let's do a last breath. And then gently releasing, coming to your normal breath, releasing also the pose. Bring your legs back together. We're going to come again into a Sphinx pose. We did this last time. So bring the elbows under your shoulders, and your hands and forearms are parallel to one another, opening wide the fingers. Open the chest, look front. Press with your pubic bone down to the earth. Now you can stay here Or if you want, you can join me. We're going to do a little bit of a hamstring stretch. So you're going to bend your knee with the same hand. Let's do the right one. You're going to grab either the toes or the ankle or wherever. And then you can bring the heel close to your glute. You will open quite the shoulder of the right hand here, so that you can create that space to come and bring that leg towards you. Gently we're going to release, coming back to Sphinx pose, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Bending the knee, finding it with your hand. If you have some space, you can even slide the foot towards like the forearm a little bit more, and then press to bring it closer to your glute. Try to find your breath here. And very gently release. We're going to come again to Makarasana, crocodile pose. Toes out, heels in, legs open, and forehead relaxed on top of both hands. This is a short pause, and then we're going to move to the next pose. So bringing your legs together. Now we're going to find the side of our body. So we're going to create one straight line, a really, really straight line, from the ankles all the way to the elbow. Now I want you to check how straight your line is. So for that, I want you to tuck in the pelvis. So contract a little bit the glutes so that they create that straight line. Notice that the knees are not bent and that this elbow is not to the front, but is actually in line with the rest of the body. Now this alignment and the nuances of it is what's going to make a real difference in your pose of where we're going to try and go. So notice those points, and then bring your hand on top of your thigh. This is, believe it or not, a bit of a balancing pose, because we're going to try and find a way where we not do it with the knees or with the bum out or with the shoulder, but we try to create that balance with that straight line in our bodies. Now from here, you can join me if you wish, or stay where you are. You can also help yourself to find more of that balance with your hand on the ground or on the thigh. As you lift the thigh, slide the hand up to where you arrive. Notice here is where the balance start to get a little bit more wobbly. And if it's not getting wobbly, check again how straight your line is. We tend to bend the knee here and bring the hips out and the bum out. So that creates us like that little, gives us more stability than the one that we want to achieve. Now here where you are, try to soften and relax. If you fall back, come back up. And if you wish, you can slide even more the leg if your body allows you to. Perhaps you reach your foot with the hand. If not, remember that it's totally fine. It's more of that inner state that we want to achieve with our practice, our focus, our concentration. Slowly we progress, but it's not that we want to get there as soon as possible. We want to enjoy it as well, each and every step. Wherever you are, let's find a deep and long breath here. And then very gently, if you have your hand on your foot, you can start releasing it, and you can slide again the foot and the hand graciously and gently back to the earth. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. You can just turn onto your belly and then to the other side. I'm going to turn so I keep facing you. And we do the exact same thing. So find your straight line from the ankles to the elbow. Once you find it, make sure your knees are straight, your bum is tucked in. And then we do the same thing on the other side. We start rising the leg. Remember that you have choices here. You can put your hand down, you can rise the leg just a little bit. Ideally, the hand is not grabbing the leg, so that we actually are doing some work with our abductors muscle here. And once you find your balance, you can even go a little bit further until perhaps you reach your foot with your hand. So every balance pose, whether we're on our feet or whether we're on the ground or on our hands, the real stability comes from our core. And when I say core, yes, I mean, the muscles of the abdominal wall, but I also mean our center. Stability comes also so much from the mind. We tend to be super busy with multitasking, with so many things we have to be on top of, right? It's a busy world, and overstimulation is the rule nowadays. So when we find moments like this of like unipunctual focus, it helps us stabilize many things in our lives. Our mental clarity is regained, our concentration. We, in the end, become more efficient as well when we need to do, because we learn also how to be. As they say, we're not human doings, we're human beings. So then very gently releasing back down. And then let's come to lay on our backs. So once here, we're going to bring our legs together, knees to the chest, hug them in, and then just roll side to side. Come back to the center and release the legs. We're going to bring the feet close to the glutes, and we're going to keep them the feet parallel to one another, and then the knees also hip width distance apart, following the line of the feet. Hands are going to go towards the heels, and then on an inhale, we're going to rise our hips up, so pressing with the ground, firmly the heels to bring the hips up. Taking some breaths here, deep and long, as you feel the engagement in the bottom part of your body. Try not to open the knees, so the knees may want to open or close in towards one another. Keep them hip width distance apart. Thighs are parallel to one another, same as the feet. And gently exhaling down, hips to the earth. We're going to do the same thing, but now you have the option, if you want, to rise your hips at the same time as you rise your hands up and above the head to touch the ground. Find your breath again. And gently bringing the hips back down. At the same time, you bring your hands back down to the center. Let's take a pause here and take a moment to breathe in and out through the nose. If you want, you can close your eyes. Feel your body. Feel the points of your body that are touching the earth. Let's come back to our intention, to this moment in our journeys where we're finding what really works for us. And that means we also notice what doesn't serve us, and from there we learn, and then we adapt new things, new ways of being, new ways of doing, of thinking. Now we're going to extend. If you have your eyes closed, you can open them as you extend your left leg onto the ground, and right leg you're going to hug it in towards your chest. You're going to now keep your right hand on that right knee. The left hand is going to go onto the left hip, and you're going to open the knee towards the right side. The hand that's on the left hip serves like an anchor point. So we don't turn with the hip and follow the other leg, but we keep it glued, pointed down. Feeling the hip releasing and opening. You don't press with your hand, you just gently put it on the knee, and the same weight of your arm is going to guide the leg to open. Gently coming back to the center, and then switching, extending the right leg. Keep your right hand on that right hip, left hand on the left knee, and then opening it to the side. Keep that right hip grounded where it was. Try not to move it and shift it from the center. Take a deep inhale back to the center, hugging both knees onto the chest, and then rolling side to side, giving yourself a little bit of that massage. You can move even if you want in circles so that you reach a little bit lower down your sacrum and then a little bit higher up your spine. And here you can take a happy baby if you wish. You can do a lying twist. We just have a very brief time here of self-exploration, or if you want, you can already come with me to your Shavasana. So legs are open, toes fall to the sides, arms are by the sides of the body, and then the palms are facing up, also keeping the arms a little bit away from the midline. As you land into this last pose, Shavasana, the Sanskrit name of it, means, Shava means cadaver. It's the pose, like the cadaver's pose. And in a way, this is a very important and significant part of our practice. Traditionally in Hatha Yoga, they say that this pose is the hardest one to achieve because you have to remain as focused, as alert, as awake, as if you would be in any other pose. And because we are against gravity, we're basically inert on the ground. Our consciousness shifts. Our spine is not aligned, let's say, to the cosmos and the earth, but is horizontal, which means that our consciousness shifts, and we're more prone to go either to dreamland or to thoughts, to mind chatter. So keeping that in mind, we are practicing and culminating our practice, trying to stay with what we've cultivated in our minds, in our breaths, in our energies. So more than a resting pose, yes, we're assimilating, but we're also bringing in all the gifts by being aware and alert and awake. The rest that you can receive in, if you have a state of mind that is present with what you're doing right now, is bigger than if you were to just take a nap on Shavasana. So it helps to keep the mind anchored in something, whether it is the breath, or you can do a body scan from the toes to the head and the head to the toes. Let's enjoy the last few breaths here, savoring each moment. We're going to bring one hand on top of the chest, the other one on top of the belly. Feel the movement of the breath here. The rising and falling of the chest and the belly. And feeling as well the warmth and the weight of your hands on your chest and belly. Very gently we're going to start moving our bodies to wake them up. Bringing our knees to the chest, hugging them in. And then just roll side to side. And then let yourself come completely to one side on a fetal position. Then using your top hand and your bottom elbow, press the ground so that you come up and find your comfortable seat. Hands resting on the lap, palms facing up, relax the shoulders and the neck. Bring the awareness back to your center. See if you can find and feel the right side of your body. Bring all your awareness only to the right side of your body. And then switch and feel and become aware of the left side of your body. Then only become aware of the front side of your body. And then of the back side of your body. And now find the part where all those four sides meet, your center, your midline. On a coming inhale, we're going to bring the palms joined together in front of our heart space. Connecting to the intention that we set at the beginning of our practice, keeping that in mind, and it may follow us through the rest of the day or the rest of the week. Or you may set another intention that you want. We're going to offer the benefits, the fruits of our practice for the benefit of all sentient beings as we take care of our lives, of our health, of our well-being. We're doing also a favor to everyone else, people who know us and people who don't. We're all growing and healing together. And we wish that everyone also takes responsibility of their lives, of their health, of their journeys. And we wish that everyone be free of suffering and find the ultimate happiness. So I'll close the space of our practice with a mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Bowing gently our heads to our hands. Om Namah Shivaya. Hari Om Tat Sat.